So let's get on to our second recipe, which is from Japan. Let's fly to Europe. So this one is one of the European classics or contemporary. We can just talk about it while we cook it. It's basically a freestyle, a cheese dish where we're using everything local and indigenous. So the dish is all about pan-seared Kalari. So let me tell you something about Calari. It's our very own cheese, which is similar to Gouda or mozzarella, which comes from the region of Kashmir, from the place called Udham, if I'm not wrong. So it's our very own Kalari cheese from Jammu. So this will be paired with two elements. One is a lebne, which is a Middle Eastern yogurt dip. But the whole twist with the lebne is we are cooking and we are whipping the lebne with hemp seeds, which looks like this. So hemp seed, not to worry or you should not be excited by it. It's nothing related to hemp, but it has a very low, what do you say, it will not make you high, in a simple words. So it's a hemp seed heart. So that comes from a supplier from Uttarakhand. So that will be added to a lebne. We're going to do two more elements. One is a compote, which is more like a cranberry chutney. So we are doing with US cranberries. The whole chutney will be making with red wine, cranberry juice, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's it. So let's start with a compote because that's going to take a little bit of time. Again, very simply add your liquids, which is your wine, cranberry juice, apple cider vinegar, and the cranberries. Here you don't need to soak it. You can simply start the cooking with dried cranberries. So again, you need to boil it once and reduce it down so that it should not get, I will not say salty, it should not get over caramelized. So on a very slow flame, let the cranberry seep in, seep in the juices of cranberries, red wine and apple cider vinegar, and slowly reduce it down further. So let's get on to our second recipe now, second element of this recipe. So we're gonna grill the Kalari cheese. So what you have to do, so this Kalari comes from Jammu in a frozen form. Somehow in Delhi you don't get a fresh Kalari. The best way to have Kalari is fresh because it's slightly fermented also. So it has a very nice hint of sourness to it. So you simply dress it up with sea salt. So this sea salt comes from a place called Tuticorin. So we try to, procure our ingredients from different part of India. So this comes from Tamil Nadu, cheese comes from Jammu. So we try to touch every touch point of India. So keep looking, keeping an eye on your compote. It needs to be reduced slowly, nicely. So I'm going to dress it up with sea salt, some freshly crushed black pepper, which is important. Great. So in a different pan. So let's keep our pan ready. It needs to be piping hot. So first you have to heat the pan with the oil. Be generous with oil as you need to shallow fry the cheese. So the texture would be similar to halloumi if you know, but the taste is very different. So as I mentioned, it's mixed of mozzarella and Gouda, but it's fermented. It has its hint of sourness and acidity. Keep your tools ready. You need a little pocket spatula. Guys, make sure you are good with your equipments. Always check before you start cooking, which is very, very important. Whether you're cooking at home or in colleges or in your kitchens. Check your degree. I do it with hands. You just need to sense the heat of oil in the pan so that it gets seared properly. I think I've forgotten to mention one more thing is a Moringa-pesto. So this is something which we're going to pep up the whole thing with. It is very nice, sour, peppery. The moringa is very wild and green. So we have done a pesto out of moringa. So fresh moringa leaf, which is in the season now. So moringa is nothing. It's basically a drumstick leaf, which people use a lot in south of India. and now I think it's people are using worldwide because it has a superfood quality. It's one of the superfood like cranberries. So that we'll be using while we dish up the whole thing. So now your pan is hot and smoky. So once it's hot, so I'm going to transfer the cheese into it. So you need to be very careful with the Kalari. So once your pan is hot, you have to reduce down the heat, let it crisp from one side and slightly and slowly just flip it around. So your Kalari is almost ready here. I'm going to plate up my dish. So here you have a lebne, which is again the hung curd. I've added a little bit of garlic, lemon juice. Instead of tahini, what we have done, we have taken a hemp seed heart and we have made our homemade tahini with it. So that has been mixed to a lebne because tahini is very, very crucial and one of the important part of a lebne. So I have reserved some hemp seed heart to show you how exactly it looks. It will not make you high, don't worry. So your lebne is ready, which is sour, extremely sour. So put your lebne like this. Get your cheese here. Can you see the crispness of the Kalari and the softness which is there inside? So put it on top. You've got your cranberry compote ready, which is a red wine, cranberry juice, cranberry and some apple cider vinegar. You can of course experiment with this and add a little bit of herbs, a little bit of nuts as you like. So I'm just gonna drizzle this over it. Here you go. This is one of the classics and we don't want to play much. So that's a little pesto to give that herbiness to the whole thing, to cut out the sweetness or fattiness. So the local twist here is the moringa. Instead of basil, we have used that. And to garnish this, you've got some fresh moringa leaves, which you can eat raw because people do dehydrated moringa as one of the superfood. People do a shakes out of it, people do smoothies out of it, so that can be your garnish here. And some flour to beautify it further. And here you go. One of the European classics, get an Indian makeover by a lebne, crispy Calari and some US cranberry compote. Cheers.